I'm Wendy Fry, and I'm the owner of Curiosity Corner right here on North 18 F Street, and we host the local artists on consignment, and my husband's also a gem cutter. So we make a lot of neat things there and have a lot of great people that put their beautiful artwork on consignment. And today we're having our September meeting on the 23rd. And I'd like to go around the room and introduce who's present and those who are not able to be here. We understand there's a lot of illness going around, and it is Friday night. We usually have our meeting on a Thursday, but this particular month we had to do it on a Friday. So let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Will Wright. I am new to Lakeview. This is probably my 14th day in town. So still getting used to things. I am the rare AmeriCorps member for the Lakeview Community Partnership. So I'm their only full-time staff member working on revitalizing the downtown area, getting businesses into the buildings, getting the buildings rehabbed and restored, especially the Alger Theater. That is a big project of ours right now. We're going through due diligence. We are looking at buying the theater and then reopening it as either a movie theater, a performing arts theater, or both. But we've got a lot of work to do before we actually get to opening day. So
that's exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting for this town. Everybody has always been wanting that to happen here. So
To come back, yeah.
That's a positive right there.
Have you ever been to Ashland? Or?
I have not been to Ashland.
Okay, because I was going to say the Shakespeare Theater. I like theater and go to plays when I can, concerts as much as I can.
We are trying to work with the Ross Ragland in Klamath Falls and the Niles down in Mount Torres. So being able to bring talent in and kind of work together on that kind of thing, and also just pick their brains since they've managed to restore their theaters.
What's that show they have on TV for, they pull in people that are talented and compete with each other? You know what I'm talking about.
Like America's Got Talent?
Yeah, that one. That sounds like kind of along the lines of what you're doing. In a way, you know, I mean, because you're focusing on talent and you're trying to pull things together in this town to help, you know, the community or whatever.
Yeah.
And you, sir, what's your name?
My name is Rod Johnson. I used to service the drugstores here for 10 years, and up until 1990, nationally involved in the arts, antiques, art, Western tech. I'm a historian. I do tons of fundraisers for hundreds of organizations all over, and so I met a lot of nice people in this town, and I have to say I support the law enforcement, the drugstores, the churches, hotels. I'm doing a current job thanks to this lady here for one of the local lodges, black and white Western photos, and then I met her, and she's got the exact stuff that I need.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, just saw her coming in here, so it was just a really, you know, nice twist of fate, you know, in a positive direction. So.
Well, welcome to the Lake County Artisans, and
Absolutely, and with that, my name's Anna Heflin, and I was very excited to be able to see that I got your attention as you were coming across the street. I believe everything happens. I don't believe it's a coincidence. I think it happens for a reason. So what a blessing that we're having this meeting tonight, and he is who he is to be able to come in and not only see what's going on here and then we meet his needs, but he has also donated back to LPC these art prints and cards so that we can use them as a fundraiser to make money for what we're doing. So what a blessing. Here we are. And there's not very many of us tonight, but like I told Wendy earlier, whoever needs to be here will be here. And part of the reason why I'm here is because I'm doing Talk Fusion, and we're a virtual marketing company that can be virtually live. So our next meetings, we will be setting up to where we can be live, so people can be at this meeting from home, from Boise, Idaho, from wherever they are at. They can tune in and be a part of this. So we will be virtual. Another thing we're going to be offering is a virtual storefront. Simply by downloading an app from Talk Fusion, a free app, You can utilize that to video chat with anybody instantly. And if you choose to get a package with Talk Fusion for as little as $25 a month being a customer, you can do video emails, video newsletters, and instant communication. And it's a fantastic way to be able to broadcast your business, communicate with people. Everybody loves instant, and that's where we're headed. So being able to give that gift to this group is huge for all of us. Like I said, we've got the flu, we can't always be there. He's from Boise, he just happened to stumble in today, but now I'm gonna be able to live chat with him or send him video emails. I'm gonna be able to put his artwork on those video emails and help him market. So it's endless what we have at our fingertips and what we're able to do and be able to grow this community. So I'm extremely thrilled to be here and be a part of it all.
I love the technology of just these phones that you can get 200 images on here, history and art, like I was sharing with you, and you can text them to people. Since
Yes.
I've kicked into the Galaxy phone or whatever, networking in my business, it's really improved, my sales and ability to relate to people. You can put pricing on there, text messages, and photos of your antiques, art, framing. I have a custom framing business, so.
That's why I like
been a
the Talk
beautiful
Fusion.
plus.
Because my husband is a gem cutter, and he people think I just don't let him out of the house. It's not true. He's working really hard for that fastening machine. He's got to watch every movement he makes instead of getting disrupted or having to be in the store. It's really hard on him. He wants to make this beautiful art piece, and he's doing this wonderful work. But what happens is he'll be at home and he's fastening on the machine, and I might have a customer come in and says, I have this sunstone, or I have this amethyst, or I have whatever stone it is, and I'd like to have it cut. And instead of him stopping what he's doing to get into the car and come on over, I could pull up the Talk Fusion and have a live meeting between my husband and the customer. And my husband would say, okay, turn the stone this way, turn the stone this way. And he could talk live from the house like that. It's not like Skype, it's instant.
Skype, I haven't even done Skype yet, but that is fascinating to
You'll
me.
pull your hair out. Talk Fusion's instant. You send a link, they click it, they're live. They don't have to download anything, they don't have to know about anything. It's just instant communication. And
So now that it said, we're also putting the store live, so you can do live shopping. And it's been a tough week, been trying to get all this together, but once it pulls together, this is what's gonna keep the store, the local arts and crafts alive during the snow, because it doesn't snow everywhere in the world. And there are items that people make that, hey, if I'm talking to Australia, they're in heat, sun in the middle of, Christmas. This is just bringing Lakeview and the beautiful arts and crafts and the talent that we have here. And we mean, there is some extraordinary, wonderful talent here. And get them global and have that little extra income. Most of my consignees, they're either retired, they're very ill, can't leave their home, they're young and they're just learning photography. Some of them are just that little extra income that helps another family member that's really ill. There's all sorts of things, so it's really important to me to be able to keep them going through the times that it isn't a tourist season. So why Talk Fusion is so important to me is not just that, but also it's going to build our business as well on our end. And so I was really excited when Anna introduced it to me. And on that note, we also have this gentleman over here that always appears. It's Kirk.
Kurt Lidke with the Lake County Examiner for about another 2 to 3 weeks. I'm being transferred to the Herald and News in October, so I will be leaving the community here very soon.
Where are you going?
that hurts my heart.
The Klamath Falls
Wow.
to work with the Herald and News.
I deal with a lot of businesses over there.
I do just about all of the video production in Lake County. I used to work in TV and film in Los Angeles before coming here. And I found it a really unique area in that it does not have its own TV station in the entire county. You don't find a lot of places in the country that has that. So from a filmmaker perspective, it was a clean slate. And so this week, after 2.5 years of being here, I posted my 1200th video. I've also produced over 60 DVDs that we sell through the newspaper. And a lot of my video production has been used to document and promote the area for tourist purposes. The Chamber of Commerce has been active in using a lot of my footage for promotion. for tourism, particularly bicycle tourism, since they just approved the Oregon Scenic Outback Bikeway. I've done so much video production here that other newspapers within our corporate veil want that for themselves too. So the idea is that I'm going to Klamath Falls to launch a video department. It's going to be based out of Klamath that helps not just the Herald and News, but other newspapers within our corporate veil as well. So that is why I am in the process of packing up and leaving.
You sound like a multi-talented guy. I was gonna tell you in some of my networking in Klamath, Bob Bastian, Rocky Mountain Elks Foundation.
I know him very well. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I've talked to him before.
Yeah, I got his card right here. He bought me a steak dinner at the Rocky Mountain Elks banquet.
Yeah, when they've had banquets here, I've met him on several times, on several occasions.
So Kurt, will you still be providing video for Lake County as well?
Yeah, I'm trying to train people to do the majority of filming here. I will still be doing some video production for Lake County. The other thing that's happening is Herald and News is buying a very high-end drone for me,
Oh, nice.
which I am a licensed pilot. I've been flying airplanes since I was 7 years old, and so that applies well to doing some aerial photography.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to be doing a lot of aerial video production in both Klamath and Lake County to further document the area. I've been relegated to date to filming at ground level. I've done a lot of walking tours of different monuments, local museums, to really showcase what's here, but I've never been able to go overhead, and now I'm going to have that opportunity. So I'll probably be doing some filming around Fort Rock and Crack in the Ground and different areas to kind of visually showcase Lake County that can be used for tourism purposes.
That's
fantastic.
fantastic. I'm excited.
Is it not a place to ask for your business card and give you mine in case we
Totally
can
fun.
help each other in some way down the road?
And I also want to, Wendy was talking about Talk Fusion. Talk Fusion is video marketing, but we also have referrals. So for our people who are utilizing the Talk Fusion to be able to be virtual with their storefronts, they can also refer Talk Fusion, and Talk Fusion pays for any sale that comes from that referral instantly in 3 minutes on a Visa card. So what Wendy was expressing is that we're going to be able to help them financially while they're running their own business and marketing their own business. Financially, they can be doing referrals and building that stream of income up on the side to back up the business that they're already doing. So that's one thing that we're going to be offering and hoping that we can help the community, like she said, through the winter, to be able to financially continue to go through, because most of our stores, we get them in here and get going. I've been working for 9 months to get different people going into the building, and it's really hard to get up and going. We really worked with Wendy to transfer her over here, helped her out. I'm willing to do store hours, volunteer to keep the store open, whatever it takes, because you've got to have that passion in order to be in a small rural community and get it out there. So we are really excited for all the things coming up.
So one of the things that I wanted to bring up is an idea. I've been talking to people locally around the town and throwing it out there. I'm really passionate, and I know Anna is as well, and I'm sure a lot of people are, about having something for these kids around town to do. And having the theater possibly come back, wow. In fact, I was talking to someone today, and I had told them that I had met you and that there was a possibility this might be happening. And she goes, I used to take my grandkid every week to the theater, and then it was gone. And now I'm left with, I can't really go to the park when it's cold and snowing. So that would be wonderful. I think we're going to have so much support to have that happen again.
I went to go rent a DVD at the little place where we could rent DVDs, closed. It's for sale.
It's for sale.
There's nowhere to rent a movie, so.
The Alger too, it's more than just a place to go see a movie or something on stage. It's a historic theater that has that old-time, old Hollywood feel, and you don't find those around the country very much anymore. Most of those have been torn down at this point. First time I walked into that place, thought it was just like walking into the movie The Majestic. It's like a time capsule from 1940, and as a film buff and film historian to an extent, it's so cool to go through that building and just re-experience it. They ended up doing recently a documentary show, but before that they had a premiere here last year for the film Wild, which was filmed largely in Oregon, and they had me run the booth upstairs, so I was the last person to bring the lights up and down in this theater that had shown thousands of movies, and the entire time that the projection room is built just like an old style projection room. They still have old reels in there from the 30s and 40s and 50s. I didn't even watch the movie. I was just sitting there like, look at that, oh, that's so cool, oh, let's check that out. really important to save old historic theaters like that, because it's a piece of Hollywood that is lost, and I spent 12 years working in Hollywood. So it's very near and dear to my heart. Came up here from Los Angeles, so to see a theater like that here, it's not just a place to provide entertainment, be it movies or plays, or just recently in August they had a Blues Brothers tribute act come through and play a concert there. It's also, in a way, a museum of preserving history of film in this country.
I would like to make a comment because of your business and related field. Art Dubes was a friend of mine, big time movie producer in Medford. Did Sacred Ground, probably 25 really unbelievable movies, and he was a world-renowned hunter. He passed away a few years ago, but on the state record blacktail for Oregon, I was friends with the Bean family. Riley Bean, they were top trophy deer hunters, went to school with Art Dubes, and Riley's passed away. I was just at their house the other day. But I would like you to have this card, and I'm going to get her another one. This is Captain Thompson's house, early 1900s. Actually, it's late 1800s, early Victorian kit house, and they filmed a movie with Cliff Robertson, Robert Duvall, and Jack Elam, Great Northfield, Minnesota raid. I'm friends with the Estramados who own that house now and restored it for the historical aspect of that. So I'm involved in some of those things, and my nephew paints contact lenses for the movie industry, and I have another friend down outside of Lake Isabella that's directly involved in the movie industry in Hollywood through horses. My girlfriend bought an Arabian horse from him, so she was down picking up that horse, and I could find out a little bit more about him just in case you guys might be able to make a connection there in the movie industry or whatever.
The one fascinating thing, Will, when you're involved in the Alger, whenever you get the samples to take you through the building, underneath the stage, they have decades worth of old movie posters rolled up that are going back to the 1940s. That, I mean, those are on the market probably worth, if you put those up on eBay, it would probably help to purchase the Alger Theater, realistically, is that there's such a demand for classic movie posters, and that collection in there is astounding. One thing I've been really fascinated with since coming here is Lakeview and Lake County in general, being as off the beaten path as it is, has provided a lot of aspects historically to find things I normally wouldn't have. Everyone has different things they like to collect, right? Everyone has different passions. Mine is I collect retro video games. And I have found more antique video games here than in the time I spent in Los Angeles visiting flea markets and used gaming stores, because there weren't any other collectors that came through the area. One of the most incredible collections here is at the Schmink Museum, which you'll definitely want to visit at some point. The Schmink family has the largest collection I've ever seen in my life of Edison wax cylinder recordings. I've seen a few in museums here and there. Occasionally you'll see one at like Amoeba Records that's behind glass. They have boxes full of what was the very first ever technology for recording audio. And they still have a playable player. I've gone in there and listened to a bunch. I've recorded a bunch of them through video. And it's a collection unlike any that I've ever seen anywhere in the world. And it's sitting in Lakeview, Oregon, in a little museum all boxed up. It's fantastic.
Do you know what those movie posters you're talking about? I've been dealing in them for 25, 30 years. I've got the Superman with Christopher Reeves, and I've got Sean Connery, another one filmed in Italy.
This would go back to 1940s, what they have in the collection.
In one of his first movies, I got the original movie poster backed on linen cloth. So I love all that stuff. And
there's a huge market for it.
Anybody's looking or, needing help in that area, I network with that stuff too.
It would be great to have like a movie memorabilia museum as part of the.
There could be a whole exhibit established just from what's under that stage of movie poster art displayed at a museum. They have enough posters there that have just been sitting around gathering dust.
I just saw an Elvis Presley because I framed it for a guy over in Winchester Bay. He has a huge collection of stuff and Marilyn Monroe stuff, and anyway, that one, there was only 500 copies released. It was at least 24 by 36 inches. I think it was Jailhouse Rock, that's what it was. Blacks and reds, a really nice one. But you know, that one movie poster, anywhere from 1,200 to 3,500, 4,000, you know, because of the rarity of how many were printed, you know. So it depends on, and the numbers on the bottom of the movie poster, it'll tell you a lot of information, you know. It'll even have numbers like as far as how many in the printing and stuff like that. So those are things to look for if you find old rare movie posters. You might hit a gold mine, you never know.
I do have a couple questions for you. I have, like I said, I've talked to a few people, and one of the questions that was posed was, what can the artists here in town do to help the town? I mean, these projects that you're involved in, how can they contribute? You know, when you get started on something, does murals need to be done? Everybody wants to know what, you know, there's so much conflict. I keep hearing, we want the town to look like it, just go back to what it used to be. We want the town to have murals. We want to have something that draws people in. I'm curious I'm asking a question for a lot of artists. How can they contribute to what these things that we're trying to accomplish here? They want a piece of, you know, contributing.
For instance, like Hank Albertson does beautiful artwork in one of the buildings on the other, on the old Roundup. If you go back on the back wall, it is beautiful, and Hank donated that, and it's in the building, and it's got buffalo, and it's an old Western scene, absolutely fantastic. And so our artists are wanting to know what can they do like that to be able to pass forward to help LPC.
So obviously I've only been here for a little while, so I'm not sure of all the ins and outs of everything. One thing that I can think of just off the top of my head is we do have a lot of empty storefronts. If we can get art in those storefronts, even perhaps selling them on consignment, that may be a way of attracting people downtown, or at least, you know, it cleans up those storefronts enough that people driving by aren't just like, oh, this is a dead town.
Right, it's not a ghost town. For instance, he saw the pictures in black and white. He saw me walking in, there was enough curiosity. We just had 3 people walking by a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
They were looking, they weren't sure if they should come in or not. I was sitting here the other night, a fellow pulled up on his bicycle. He was looking at his phone and was trying to find the 39er, but he ended up here. He was looking for a dictionary. He went over to the 39er, they didn't have what he needed. I told him, please come back here if you don't find it. I'm sure I can find you one of my personal ones. Turned out his name was Aaron. Aaron was from China. He'd been here about 5 years as a ballet dancer in LA, and his next journey was to travel all 50 states without a penny. And so that's what he was doing. So the next thing you know, we're helping him with the dictionary. He ended up staying here in the building for 2 nights and being able to network with different people, and then got on his bicycle and headed back out. And I just got a message from him, he's in Washington. But it's the historical building, it's the openness. I just happened to be here, and so, wow, what a fantastic connection.
That reminds me of the movie Into the Wild, where this young kid takes off and decides to go into the wild. Did you see, anybody see that?
Yeah, no, I'm very familiar with the film. It's based on a book.
Yeah, it was a younger guy, kind of, you know, probably in his 20s or so.
Emil Hirsch was the lead actor.
Yeah, good recall. I couldn't remember the names on that, but that was an interesting story. And in my career, I met Ken Kesey. He did the one who flew over the Cuckoo's Nest. I think he did one back in 1970. And so he's since then has passed away. But I'm totally fascinated and intrigued with the movie industry from the classics all the way up. And so I have to say, you and I would probably have some great conversations on movies.
The theater that's just right over here is a place that you should definitely take a look at. Even if you can't get in, just take a look at it from outside. It was built in 1940. It wasn't the first theater here. That was the Marius Theater that's now the Marius office building over here. That was originally a movie theater that's now been converted into office space. But you can tell still that it's an old theater because the stairs at the entrance of the building are very theater-like. But since 1940, up until about two to 3 years ago, that place was showing movies. It would have the serials for all the kids each day. You know, they'd show Lone Ranger and Buck Rogers and all that stuff for a full day matinee. there's a lot of history in that place. When you walk in there, it is like a time capsule back to 1940. It still has all the classic architectural designs to it.
It's got the original carpet, the original
Seats.
upholstery on the seats.
Yeah.
Does anybody here still watch the old comedies, I Love Lucy, Gomer Pyle? you know,
I'm pretty
Leave It to
adamant
Beaver.
about, I actually listen to old radio shows.
I
Dark
have
Shadow,
I have a
mean,
vast collection on vinyl of old classic golden era radio
I
programs.
love listening to the commercials too. I mean, they talk about, you know, the new type of tire, you know, and we're just going, wow, you know, and you hear the voices.
I like
and-
Captain Midnight and the Dawn Patrol.
And my mom, you know, she got me, and so I happened to find some on cassette tape and the old radio shows, and thank God we still have a cassette player that worked, and they're a lot of fun. And you know, to see them, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to see them talk and all the.
Have you seen the movie Radio Days? It was a Woody Allen film from 1987, Seth
Yes.
Green's first film.
Yeah.
It's based entirely on that. But this theater, it's not just a theater to go and watch something. It can be that, certainly.
It's an
But there's
experience.
also a great draw simply from people who have a great appreciation of history and old-time film. I was force-fed AMC black and white films growing up.
That's my favorite right there.
My dad force-fed me every black and white film that still existed. And when I lived in LA, I'd often go to the silent movie theater. It's right across from Charlie Chaplin's old film studio. I go to the Egyptian Theater, which even predates the Grauman's Chinese Theater. I lived right next door to the Grauman's Chinese Theater almost. I was within walking distance. And there's so much history of the film industry there. It just grew the appreciation. So to come back here to see this gem in the middle of nowhere.
When was the last time you were down there?
Kind of about 2 months ago, they had a film showing of a documentary that they opened up the theater again and presented a film called Dryland, and invited the community in. But the time that I've been here, 2.5 years, they've only had 2 showings. One was a premiere for the film Wild, and the other was Dryland about 2 months ago.
Does anybody know much on Jessica Rabbit?
From the film Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my nephew painted the contact lenses for the movie. He just moved down to Tucson. But he sent me a text of her and I was trying, and you know, you said the movie right there. You must be.
Yeah.
I named the actor, you named the movie, you know, it could be a game show.
So what I was trying to say is now what we can do is before you take off, you know, you had some really good contact information. Like Alan Logan to talk to her about what we were talking, which I'm going to bring up, but a storefront art on consignment or just display in the empty buildings. That would take talking with several of the business owners. One thing that we have to be careful is make sure that the buildings are, you know, they're not going to be when it rains or
We
snows.
have a lot of flat roofs in the wintertime, so we want to be cautious that way.
Yeah, and these are one of a kind art, you know, so, you know.
But that's a great idea, or even just pictures of stuff in the windows like what we've got with the old,
Yeah.
with the history.
Yeah.
I've sat
Something
here
to
many
draw.
times and people will literally park the car just to go look at the photographs. And people are always fascinated with history. And, yeah, I mean, this would be great. But like I said, we have to make sure whatever buildings that this art is in, is that it's secure enough to protect it. What have you. The thing I wanted to bring up is, and I'm hopefully bringing it up with the Lake Community Partnership.
I'm a part of that committee, so I will talk with Ann Logan as well, with LPC, to be able to join with us.
I am really passionate about having kids have something to do. And not every kid is an athlete.
Yeah.
They're scientists, there are people, the kids love rocks, the kids love art. There's so many things. And I'm going to use all that skill I had as a preschool teacher and and what have you, and bring that together. I love art. It doesn't mean I'm a great artist. I just really love it. And I love the fact that there's something really wonderful to see a kid finish a little project and give it to a gift. And that parent will just cherish it, you know. And when we were talking before about the time capsules and what have you. And so what I'd like to try and get started here is Santa's workshop. And basically I'd like to pick, I'm trying to find a place, and we're talking about possibly in here, where the kids can come in free. And for a couple of hours, have this thing going each weekend through October and November, where a kid can come in and make a craft. You can help them wrap it or what have you, and have a gift to give to a family member or a friend or something during Christmas. Because so many kids, we have families here, they don't have a lot of money, or they want to make something special for their mom and dad, or they have an aunt, far away, and it's just so important. It's a way of the Lake County Arts to connect with the community. I'm looking for people to volunteer, donate. I'm hopefully going to get the nonprofit to back it up. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
I would be happy to donate to any of those causes, and I think through my networking and going back to high school, I could recommend something to Kurt and you as an entity to bring together. Well, when I was in high school, the Press Enterprise newspaper, which you would probably, did you ever go to Riverside, or?
Yeah, I've been out to Riverside a few times.
They put 40 million in the restoration of the Mission Inn down there.
Yeah, I'm from that. I moved from that area to here.
Oh, that's where I'm from, Riverside. I was born in LA and did schooling in Riverside, and so this is what the Press Enterprise newspaper put on it was an exhibition for 29 counties of high schools, and all the schools would put together the entries for the art departments and classes. I actually was lucky. I won that first place for 29 counties. So my painting went to the museum in Palm Springs, and I got my awards in Palm Springs or whatever. But anything to do with helping kids to develop those creative genes, that they have, and to bring it out. A lot of people have talent that they don't actually ever bring out. So anything that you can do to induce, contests or people that come together to enter to, encourage people to go forward. Winning a contest for a kid could change the course of their life. It did me.
And I'll tell you, one of the things that part of this Santa's workshop is the start of something. Now, when I first opened, I try to have a Valentine's Day card contest, and I had a Mother's Day card contest. And not so many people showed up for it. They weren't sure on how it worked, but there was some kids who did, and they didn't realize, oh, it's just free and I'll put it in the window. They weren't sure about it. A lot of people didn't have any supplies
Or resources.
or time for someone to sit down. That one I want to change. I want them to be a kid, if they want to sit down, any kid can knock on my door or come into the shop and say, hey Wendy, I really need to make a card. And I have a box sitting in the shop. It has this paper and glue, and I'll let them do it. Because I understand that. Maybe they just don't have that item, the paper, the scissors, or the glue, something as simple as that, the markers. Whereas a lot of people can go and buy it at the store or whatever. Maybe there's a lot of kids that just don't.
Do you guys have an annual fair here every year? You do, right? The fairgrounds and
Yes.
Yeah, we just had it.
Stuff like that.
And so what I was wanting to do is I'm really going to push these cards and arts once a month. I'm trying to have something where a kid of all ages can submit something, some type of art, and have a contest where like the town votes on it. And maybe we could I would like to take photographs and maybe start building a calendar to purchase that supports maybe something for the kids, to get a group going for arts for kids, a fund based on their artwork. I mean, there's so many ideas flying out of my head.
It would be a good collaboration with the Lake County Youth Mentor Program.
Yes.
For their monthly group activity nights. They always try to do some sort of art and crafting with it. They built rockets. I covered one event where they built little robots out of pop cans. They've done a lot of arts and crafts related stuff.
And I was sorry I wasn't at that meeting. I was at the hospital. I wanted to be there because I know.
Pitching that idea would work well as one of their group night activities that they focus for 4th through 6th grade and then 7th through 8th grade. As they meet in the Memorial Hall or the courthouse and for about 2 hours they do games, and then they always try to incorporate some sort of craft thing. So that would be perfect as a
Yes,
tie-in
it would.
with your Santa's Workshop idea of, because that way there's also adult supervision working with them directly to collaborate with them and to help bring out their creativity. To have that group actively involved in creating cards in the lead up, and then have that as a branch off into your Santa's Workshop idea where if they want to keep doing it, I would highly suggest talking to Kathy Miles about establishing maybe the October or November group activity nights as a tie-in for expanding it into more what you want, as opposed to just starting it cold, having that core group of kids there that are going to be actively involved, and that way they're working directly with adults to kind of showcase here's how they can do it for the ones that are interested in it, can then elaborate more into what you're
And this
trying
brought
to
up another idea, your idea of having artwork in the storefront windows. Why not kids' artwork? Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
great to have a street full of wonderful art done by our
Encouraging them
residents?
and giving them that
It's
outlet.
fun to look at what develops just in their artwork, what
Exactly.
they're saying, you know, what their personalities and everything. Yeah, I think it's great.
Now, don't we have an art group in North Lake County where they use the Legos? They had it at the fair
do. Yeah,
this year.
it's a 4-H club.
Okay.
It's run by Mark Russell, who's the head of the Parks and Recreation Department up there. And once a week, there's a group of kids from North Lake School to get together and create various Lego projects. Their project this year was a 22-foot tall tower.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was displayed out at the Lake County Fair. It was awesome.
And if anybody's involved in choreography or music, at Greensville, I sponsored some of my artwork to the sock hop dance for the high school, which was a fundraiser, so.
There's a school of dance here in town.
Yes.
There's a school of dance here in town.
Oh, is there?
It's right around the corner. Yeah.
That's another good way of reaching people, because people love to dance, and, you know, with the kids in, you know, junior high school, they definitely tune into that, so. If anybody ever coordinates anything along those lines, I'd be happy to sponsor, you know, any artwork too.
In June, they always hold a massive dance recital of different routines that they've been working on all year long. There was over 30 routines for this past June, and in fact, there was a group of those kids that qualified to then go perform at Disneyland a couple weeks later that traveled down there.
Jennifer does a wonderful job. Her and her mom do a wonderful job keeping dance going in Lake County. We're very grateful for them.
Cool.
Do you know where they do the recital now?
Yeah, it's held in the 80 Hay School Gymnasium.
I'm hoping next year it's gonna be the theater, right?
Maybe a year.
Maybe
or
the
two,
year
but-
after, okay.
Now the next question is to help raise money for everything downtown. What can a Lake County Artisan group member can we have like an auction day, an art auction?
That's what I was gonna say. That would be awesome if everybody donated a piece of what they do and then do like a silent auction or something.
An auction not just for the community, but maybe get it out there to other counties, or, you know, really.
Absolutely, and the other piece is we do have some street festivals and other events that go on, which we could open up to artisans to be vendors at, and then they want to donate a portion of their proceeds to the partnership to further that.
I like that.
That would be a wonderful thing as well.
Because I think it's important that, you know, all these groups that are formed work together
And
as a
give
team.
back.
And give back to each other and back each other up to the point where, you know, if we all work together on this town could be amazing. I moved here from Southern California, and I was all in that area. I was longshoreman in Long Beach. I retired out of there, and I also, we had moved from Temecula area. My mom's in Menifee. And my mom was in
What is
Menifee,
that area growing?
Moreno Valley, all of that area I know very well, the Inland Empire very well, and the wonderful Orange County and LA County. I to say I'm from what part of California, I just say that way. You know, I was all over Santa Barbara. And what I loved about this town is exactly what Chris says, is that, you know, here's this opportunity to do all this videoing and stuff like that, whereas in LA it's so oversaturated. That's what I love about this town, that it's open to new ideas. people have tried things, some things work, some things don't. But here at least you have an opportunity to do that and not be in an oversaturated market. And you can really connect with the community too. In bigger cities, there's so many different organizations, but I think it gets just overwhelmed. And here, you have an opportunity to connect. You know your neighbor is involved in this. Hey, knock, 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 can you help me out with this? And I love that.
She's talking about me calling her at 8:30 at night to get barbecue sauce because I had a gathering and I didn't have enough barbecue sauce, and she was willing to show up.
That's
you
what
go
we
the
do
extra mile.
here.
Yeah.
You know, she showed up to open up a store, or I got hung up on something, or hey, can you watch the store? I gotta go make change, or hey, whatever it is. I love that about this town, and I think for a while, people as they're watching the buildings go down, they
Kind of lose hope a little bit.
It was
spirits go down with
depressing.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
depressing, and so to see or be a part of this happening is really exciting for me.
Your growth is important.
Yeah, it's very important, and
And getting the children excited because they are our tomorrow. So getting them part of Santa's workshop, and part of the reason why we're so excited to pull it together is because we want these children to be able to meet these artists and be able to spark them. They might connect with that artist like you're saying, or they might connect with that person. We want them to connect on their level or spark something that they didn't know they had. And we have a lot of parents, they're working a job, they're working 2 jobs, they're struggling. We're in a rural area and it takes a lot to make things happen here. It's expensive and for food and different things. And so a lot of times they're working with their kids. By the time they get done with homework and they get time with housework and they get done with everything, they don't have a lot of time to sit and work with the arts and crafts. They don't have a lot of time to show them those old movies, but we do. And we have that passion, and so we don't mind if they drop those kids off and we have them for 2 hours so that we can connect them the right way, and we can light those sparks and we connect them with the person in the community who knows how to do horseshoeing or who knows how to do all the different things that those are lost arts, but we still have people here who can teach those arts. Who they're not quite gone yet. And so I feel like we have that window right now to be able to spark that and get it going and keep those things going through. And we don't have a lot here to do in the wintertime, so if we can pull that together with the mentors program and the LPC and get those things going and all work together, it's phenomenal what we can do for our children.
that, and they will also have something positive to look at their town. Hey, I did that painting. They're gonna walk by and there's pride. The pride of your town. To be a part of keeping it beautiful. This really stops a lot of things from happening. In other words, if you are a part of cleaning up that building, it's pride of ownership or something that, you're less likely to have a kid want to go tag it.
Right, no spray painting alley.
You have something for these kids to do, you have that one more little chance of keeping them maybe off of drugs or drinking alcohol. You gave them something to do. That's a lot of what the problem is boredom.
Boy, if that isn't the truth. People that have nothing to do or idle time when they need to be exploring their avenues of hobbies, talents, interests, sports, golf, art, music. They need to develop, besides their career focus, they need to develop, some of those interests.
Their
That can
creativity.
carry them through the hard times, When I revert back to painting every winter, I take 2 months and go into like a meditational mode and music, and that's very healing and soothing. Music, art, I don't know where we'd be without it.
Oh, yeah, and, like I said before, not every kid is an athlete, and I think, while I love the athletes around here, I think sometimes.
Well, even the athletes need another outlet.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and football's only in one season, and if they're not into the other, what?
Well, and I have a family where the father's very adamant, there's 5 boys in, they're all excellent at sports. 3 of them don't really like the sports, but they know that's what they do. They're good at it, that's what they do, but they still need other outlets, like you're saying, where it's not demanding and it's not for the parents, it's for themselves.
And a lot of kids get lost at watching TV or playing video games, and they can't get outside. I have nothing against the video games. I have 3 kids that are built like linebackers, but they rather be right there on their free time after work,
And see, for me, I have a daughter that's homeschooled, and so she's homeschooled, she's very mature, very well-rounded, but she also needs activities to go to. She needs a place to meet people. She doesn't go to school, right? So she's gotta have a place to be able to get out and meet those people and encourage those people. And she baked our brownies for us today, so make sure you
Oh,
have
she's
brownies
awesome.
before you
You
leave.
don't
She's
have
awesome.
water, do you?
Kind of built like a brick.
Are they? The warmness
it's
is
not-
gone and they're a little hard.
It's not gonna budge right now, I tried.
So see, we maybe need to have a couple cooking classes, we're good there too.
Yeah, I mean, really, I
It
mean,
was so
that
much one
would
of
be
the
so great,
ingredients.
have a cookie making day or something like that. I mean, there's so much, that can be done, and, I'm really hoping that we can get the parents involved, the people that, there's so many people that are retired that would love, that have this craft of crocheting like nobody's business, or they have all these things that are becoming a dying art. And, because it's so easier to buy it from China, but
I have some coconut.
know how to
Do you
quilt,
like
to know how to do ceramics, to know how to make the arrowheads, or work with rocks. I mean, these are things that can be passed down to these kids and just open up a whole new world for them. And so I know that that's a passion of mine. I'm not afraid to admit it, but I am a recovering alcoholic, and I've seen a lot of people hurt by drugs. And if I can give back in any sort of way, if I can keep a kid off of a bottle or doing drugs, I'm going to jump right in there. And I know I'm not the only one, because of this town not having enough. Let's do something about this. Let's get these kids going, and let's do something for the seniors too. They want to do stuff too all the time.
That's what I like.
Connect them.
The
Let's
fair.
connect.
A fair, they have those competitions for people to make the best pickles, the best cornbread. You know what I'm talking
Absolutely.
about, all the different,
Entries you can do.
yeah, you can do, because I was just at the Boise Fair, and then they have all the artists, the young, like high school level, and on up. And you just get to go through all these booths with all the creations of artists, and it's really fun. Well, then they have the 4-H, so animals and stuff like that. But to me, that's exciting, being able to see all that, and
Now-
have it in one area.
And it might be fun to do like an artist fair, like with the Festival of Trees. Have the kids display their artwork that they've done at Santa's workshop. So I think
Outstanding.
connecting like that, just little pots like that,
Yeah.
coming together, and I think that would be fun.
We even have a situation where, at the last year, it was businesses who are different groups that did the tree. Let's have the kids make some trees.
Well, there you go, we'll take on a tree for the
It's a whole
kids.
kids room,
Yeah.
I can see it now, a Barbie tree, a Lego tree,
That's a great idea.
something, your favorite toy, whatever's popular, Pokemon tree or video, you could just let the kids go at it and have a good time. And let's bid on their trees. I mean, it is Christmas. It is kids' Christmas, and I'm all about that. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm gonna be making some phone calls. Hopefully I could post some questions on the Lake County Artisans Facebook page. If anybody has any questions for the video, my number is 541-417-2520. Or they can knock on the door or come right into Curiosity Corner, and I'm sure Ann is around.
Absolutely, I'm
Do you
always.
have a card, or?
Yes, I do. I do have a card.
I was gonna say, last Christmas for Hobby Lobby, the store, there's a chain of those stores now, I did a book signing and I gave away 7 carousel prints for little kids. That's the only thing I actually did in my career for kids, is this carousel. So if you guys have any fundraisers or events for kids, I'd be happy to donate some copies of that, with certificates, so.
That's
It
powerful,
could
thank
be-
you.
To encourage, little kids in the 5-7 year age range or older, to get involved,
Wonderful.
with art.
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing I want to start doing is, now that you've given that offer on the table, I could also put stuff on, we have this great site, it's called For Sale in Lakeview, or Lakeview Announcements, or the newspaper, or the chamber, where we can post things on for sale. And it would be great to have something we could post on there and say, this is what it's going to, donated by, and we can have it, something like that. But I do think a silent auction, I think there's plenty of really good stuff around here that people would put up for a silent auction, to put forth these things for kids. And we'd really love the backing of the county partnership group. I eventually, as hopefully with the Lake County Artisans movement, we can get a nonprofit thing for the kids. And this is all so new. One of the things I have to give a shout out to is we came together as a group and we pulled off something by the street fair. We had a street fair at night here on a Friday night, and we did it again. And I'm really proud of that, because not too often, so many times you have a group that gets together and they have all these great ideas, but they didn't go forward with it. And I was really proud that we went forward with it, and the help, and I want to thank US Bank for providing the parking lot. And also, we didn't have to charge and come up with a fee for people to come to it, or for the vendors to set up. And that was great, and they did fairly well for the 2 or 3 hours that they were out there. And it was a trial to see if we should do this next year. And we started late and didn't know how it would go. But we picked a Friday night because not everybody could go on a Saturday. They have ranches, and we didn't want to conflict with Saturday market. So I think this is the start of something great. And if anybody has any questions, please ask. Now would be the time, and I'm really thankful you showed up to our meetings, so that you can know that there are people that are willing to help out. And definitely.
And I also want to say thank you to John Kogar, because he does always let me have a key and use the building anytime we need to be able to have these meetings last minute, to be able to bring the kids in here. I actually had to come in early and clean up because we had kids here who were making things and crafts, and I was like, oh, okay, so we want to make it look a little better. But I want to give a big shout out to him, because he's really passionate about the history of Lake County and making sure to keep things going and to encourage the kids. So we appreciate him letting us use his facility.
Thank you, John.
And I used to work with the juvenile delinquents down in Arizona, my first career, the Arizona Boys Ranch. So, and I sponsor the Eastern Academy over in Burns for homeless boys. It's a facility. And so I think that I have some of these carousel prints in the car, so I want to donate maybe a couple of those. You can do something in your coordinating, you know.
We very much appreciate that.
We
That's
really
what I can
appreciate you
contribute.
coming in and opening the door and finding out what was going on and asking about the pictures that John and LPC have put out there for the history. It really just shows that it goes full circle, and it's powerful to have those pictures in the window and to be doing what we're doing downtown, because it makes a difference.
Yeah,
And
but
thank
you
you
wouldn't
for
have been
everything.
long to buy, I would've made it.
Timing is
She's
everything.
really good about that.
I just kind of
And
happened
every time I walk out and go, all right, who should you meet now?
You know what, I thought this was an apartment complex and you were going into your apartment or something, you know, I didn't think anything like this was going on.
And that's why we're here to get the word out, and why we're so blessed that Kurt shows up. And we want to put a big Lake County Examiner, thank you for all you do. They're always doing stories with Wendy, always being up to date on everything and getting the word out for us, and we really appreciate that.
Yes,
Who
thank
taped
you.
up those pictures?
LPC, the group Lake County Partnership.
That's who you gotta thank.
Absolutely.
Because-
Thank you for coming and relocating. Welcome. We're excited.
I wouldn't even have been drawn in here if it wasn't for that.
We usually have, like I said, a couple more people here that are adamant about coming every time we have a meeting. One has surgery and the other had an event to go to, and so sometimes it's hard. And so I dislocated a hip and she was taking care of family. We really are trying to get this live meeting going. Talk Fusion is a really good thing.
Yeah, we will be virtually live and get that going and be able to connect to more people. But we appreciate you guys showing up. We appreciate you, Kurt, and we appreciate everybody taking their time to watch this video and help us get the word out.
Yep, thank you.
Great idea to come together.